Superman 2025. I have a lot to say about this movie, so let's get right into it. Okay, so the actor who plays Superman. Oh, spoilers, by the way. There are going to be spoilers for this movie. So the actor who plays Superman, David Corenswet, I think his name is. He did great. He felt like classic Superman. He had like a mix. He was like a mix between Christopher Reeve and Tom Welling. He had the hopefulness and optimism of Christopher Reeve while having the humor of Tom Welling, which I feel like is overlooked a lot of the time. A lot of the time, because Superman does make jokes, not to the level that like Spider-Man or Deadpool does, but he makes like dad jokes, and they included that in this, which was good. Um, yeah, but this movie had a lot of like classic comic book scenes, like when Superman was fighting the monster. A lot of people say that that didn't really have anything to do with the rest of the movie, and I agree. But it felt like classic Superman, and it felt like a comic book scene, like a scene from the comic book. So I enjoyed that scene. Um, and also the visuals were really great. Like when Superman was flying, the camera would fly with him. Um, so that was cool to see. So it was like you were like seeing his perspective when he's flying. So that's cool. Um, the other cast was great too. Lois Lane, who I forgot her name, Rachel something, but she was great. Because the thing about Lois Lane is that in a lot of like, so there's two versions of Lois Lane: the serious journalist and the Smallville version, where she's like more like makes jokes and she's more like um I don't know what the word is, but like the less serious, more like quippy version. I like both versions, but I think I prefer the more serious version. So I'm glad they did that version in this one. Um, yeah, they had a few like journalist stereotypes, like her being quote unquote married to her job and not having time for a personal relationship and not being like not wanting to date Clark. Like she's saying, "Oh, we're not officially together. We're just seeing each other." There were a few stereotypes like that, but it wasn't overdone. So, so whatever. That was fine. And Clark and Lois had really good chemistry in this movie. Jimmy Olsen, he was good. Um, and also he was useful to like he doesn't know Clark is Superman, but he's still like useful to helping Superman and helping Lois and everything. Um, Perry White wasn't in the movie that much, but he was in it a few scenes, and I thought he did great. The actor did great for Perry White, which says a lot. The fact that he was only in a few scenes, but still managed to be memorable and still have an outstanding role shows that it was they made a good choice for the casting. I don't know the actor who plays him, unfortunately. I'm sorry, I don't know, but he did a good job. Um, who else? Oh, the Justice Gang. I liked Mr. Terrific. Mr. Terrific was really good. He was able to do a lot of like really cool stuff. Like he had fight scenes and gadgets, and yeah, he was really cool. This was a more serious version compared to the Arrowverse version, but that's fine because I don't really know a lot about Mr. Terrific. I just know about him from the Justice League Unlimited cartoon, and in that version, I think he was a lot more serious. So yeah, so I like Mr. Terrific. Okay, now let's talk about what I didn't like. Oh, and Crypto. Crypto. I really liked Crypto. Crypto was fun. He was funny in this movie. Okay, now let's talk about what I didn't like. Um, so Lex Luthor. I wasn't really a huge fan of Lex Luthor in this movie. He was really like whiny and petty. And Lex Luthor has always been petty, but he would be the difference is he was menacing. Like he's menacing and evil. But in this version, he's really just like petty and annoying and whiny. He has a whole team helping him try to kill Superman, and it's never really like established why they're helping him. Do they idolize Luthor? Do they hate Superman just as much as he does? Does Lex Luthor have something on them that he's blackmailing them with? It's never established. Or is he just paying them a lot of money? It's never established. So I kind of wish they talked about that more. Um, and Another thing. So Lex Luthor doesn't really do anything in this movie. He has everyone else do it for him. So he has two like people who help him with superpowers. He has this woman who, crap, what was her name? Oh crap! It began with an A. It was like Angela or something. I don't know. But she has the ability like nanotechnology inside her body, so she can like turn her hands into weapons, and she can turn into nanobots, and that was really cool. But Lex Luthor uses her to fight, like for all the fight scenes with Lex, like when they break into the Fortress of Solitude, it's her fighting everyone while Lex Luthor is just there. And it's like, it just, I don't know, it was kind of weird. And then he had another character named Ultraman, who turns out to be a clone of Superman. And when the Nano Lady and Ultraman are fighting Superman, Lex Luthor is watching from his building, from LexCorp, and is screaming, "Kill that! Kill him! Kill him!" It's like, that felt out of character, because I feel like Lex Luthor would want to kill Superman himself. Even if he had other people helping, he would want to kill Superman himself. And I know he created Ultraman, so I guess technically that is kind of doing it himself, but still, I feel like Lex Luthor would want to kill Superman with his own bare hands. And it's like, the only scene where Lex Luthor was really menacing was when he captured Superman and put him in that, like, building full of all the people he trapped. He captured, like, his ex-girlfriends and, like, anyone who's ever, like, pissed him off. So that was threatening at first, until you remember he probably had other people do it for him, considering how dependent he was in this movie on other people. He kills one guy. And you can tell, like, when he's all confident, it's only because, like Lex Luthor in the comics and the cartoons is so smug and full of himself, which is what makes him so, like, menacing. Like, he's not intimidated by Superman because he believes himself to be better than everybody, so he doesn't see Superman as a threat to himself. But in this, he's only smug because he's hiding behind other people, or because he's using kryptonite on Superman. He's only menacing and smug when he knows Superman can't hurt him. So yeah. But then when Superman shows up in his office, Lex Luthor tries to run away, and Superman smashes through the window, and then Lex Luthor just gets mad, and he's like, "You piece of shit, alien!" It's just like, shut up, Lex. When the clone is beating Superman up, something I thought was really cool was, like, Lex Luthor is controlling the clone through codes. Like, he has a different code for each move the clone does, like 1A. He keeps screaming, 1A! 1A! The clone keeps punching Superman. At one point, he kicks Superman. He uses the clone to kick Superman in his dick and balls. And he has a specific code for that. Because the clone didn't just kick Superman, he kicked him in the nuts. So Lex Luthor has a specific code for kicking Superman in the nuts. So that was weird. But yeah, but yeah, like I said, Superman did a really good job in this movie. There were a lot, like, it really did feel like Superman, like, when he was fighting the monster, he was, like, saving everyone. He was saving, like, every living thing that was in the way, like humans, dogs, squirrels, while also screaming at the rest of the Justice Gang not to kill the monster. So yeah, really did feel like Superman. But yeah, like I said, Superman, great job. Lois Lane, great job. Jimmy Olsen, great job. Perry White, great job. Lex Luthor, the actor was fine. I didn't have a problem with the actor. It's just the way he was written. I just wasn't very good. It wasn't bad. It just, like, compared to some other versions of Lex Luthor we've seen, is not the best. Something else I wasn't really a huge fan of was the Justice Gang, which was Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, and, like, the Green Lantern, Guy Gardner. It wasn't Hal Jordan or John Stewart, it was Guy Gardner, and Hawkgirl. So, I liked Mr. Terrific in this movie. I thought I liked having him in the movie. But Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl, like, it didn't feel necessary. They didn't even really do anything in the movie other than they helped him fight the monster, and then they helped him in the middle when Superman. They helped him fight the bad guys in the Middle East. But I feel like Mr. Terrific could have done that himself. Like, anything, like Superman and Mr. Terrific. Like, okay, so hang on. Sorry. So this version of Superman's first movie. So I kind of wish they just kept it with him and Mr. Terrific, because like I said, he did a lot in this movie. But Hawkgirl didn't really do anything. and neither did Green Lantern. Like, they really just were kind of there. They didn't help him when Superman was captured by Lex Luthor and Lois Lane went to them for help. Mr. Terrific was the only one who helped. Hawkgirl and Green Lantern didn't want to get involved in politics, so they didn't, because Lex Luthor was working with a bunch of politicians and didn't want to get involved, so they didn't. They do help eventually, but pretty shitty for them to just, like, allow Superman to get captured and not do anything about it. And also the Justice Gang, they kept Green Lantern kept calling them the Justice Gang, and then at the end of the movie, Hawkgirl's like, oh, we need a better name. And it's like, well, okay, so clearly they're setting up the Justice League, but you can't have the Justice League without Batman and Wonder Woman. So, yeah. Yeah, so there was that. There was one scene in particular I thought I wasn't a huge fan of, where, so there's like a monster from another dimension. It was like this like weird squid thingy that Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl and Green Lantern were fighting, all while Superman is sitting in Lois Lane. Was he in Lois Lane's apartment or his apartment? He was in an apartment. I don't remember if it was his apartment or Lois Lane's apartment. But Lois asks, like, aren't you going to go handle that? And Superman's like, no, I'm here, because he's thinking about something, which we'll get to in a minute. And he's just, like, thinking about... Okay, actually, no, we'll get to it now. So Superman finds out in this movie that his birth parents, Jor-El and Lara, I think is how you say his mom's name, that they were actually conquerors, and they sent Kal-El to Earth to be a conqueror of Earth, which causes everyone to lose trust in him. So during the apartment scene, when he's sitting in the apartment, there's a freaking monster outside, an interdimensional monster squid thingy outside, that the other heroes are fighting, but Superman's just sitting there thinking, because he's still upset about what his parents said, so he's just like, oh, they can handle it. That just felt really out of character for Superman. I can't really imagine Superman making other people handle it, no matter how upset he is. It's kind of weird. And, but yeah, but hang on, I'm going to show you that scene. Look at this scene, hang on. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, right here. Look at this. This is the promotional, one of the first promo photos they released when they first announced this movie. It's Superman putting on his boots while there's an apocalypse outside, which is what it looks like. This image is haunting with no context. The world is ending and Superman is suiting up to go save it. That's haunting. But then when you watch the movie, you realize, oh no, he's not fighting. He's not going to fight it. He's just sitting there while other people are dealing with it. So yeah, that kind of ruins it. But yeah. But after that, the scene with Superman in the apartment talking to Lois, it was a really great scene because it shows Superman doubting himself and Lois telling him, like, you think you see the best in everyone, and that's what makes you Superman. That's what separates you from them. You try to save everyone, and that's what makes you a hero. And yeah, that was a really great scene. But there were some other things I didn't like when Lex Luthor captures Krypto and Superman goes to go find him, and then Lois Lane is like, but it's just a dog. Like, that's a really shitty thing to say. Like, a lot of people love dogs, including me, and, like, I think a lot of dog lovers would get really offended by that line. There were some characters I wasn't really a fan of, like I already talked about Green Lantern and Hawkgirl. And, who else? Oh, Cat Grant was in this movie, and she was, like, the most pointless character in this movie. She really didn't do anything except ask Lois about her love life. Like, I'm not really too familiar with the character Cat Grant. I only know the version from the 2000, from Smallville, and the 2005, the Supergirl show from the Supergirl show from the Arrowverse. That version is, the Supergirl version is a lot different than this version. And I don't know, it just didn't really feel necessary. Maybe like a quick cameo, I guess. But then later, when Lois and Perry White and Jimmy Olsen are on the ship, Cat Grant is there too. Like, why is she there? She wasn't a big character in this movie. She was a minor character. And the same for this other character. I don't even remember what his name was. Was it Steve? I don't know. The guy from Saturday Night Live played him. Beck Bennett. Is that his name? I don't know. But he wasn't even... I don't even know what character was he supposed to be. Like, Steve... His name is Steve. Who the hell is Steve? Is he a character from the comics? Because I genuinely don't know. Or did they just get like, oh, hey, we have a cast member from SNL, so let's just have a random character that he can play. I don't know. But he was on the ship too, and again, he was even more. He had even less scenes than Cat Grant. Like, well, I don't understand. I don't know why they would include that. Is there anything else I didn't like about the movie? I don't know. No, I think that was it. Oh, so Eve, I don't remember how you pronounce her last name, but you remember from the 1978 Superman, Lex Luthor's girlfriend, who's also like his assistant? Yeah, so she was in this movie, but she was a lot different than she was in that movie. In this version, she loves taking selfies, and she's like a giddy, she's like bubbly and like all like, she's not evil at all. She's like a millennial, like a millennial stereotype. She likes selfies, and she's like energetic and like bubbly and everything, which is fine. But like I didn't really. She has, and she also, she used to date Jimmy Olsen, and Jimmy Olsen just is like repulsed by her. Like he finds her annoying. He doesn't even want to be around her, and he thinks her toes are weird. But he's like using her to help him take down Lex Luthor, and she does have a big hand in taking him down. But then, like at the end of the movie, she runs up to Jimmy and she hugs him. She's like, "Yeah, now we can be together forever." And even though Jimmy was repulsed by her this entire movie, now out of nowhere he just like smiles, which means I guess he does want to be with her, even though he hated her for the entire movie. But yeah, something else I didn't really like was, Jimmy and Clark had no scenes together in this movie. There's one scene where it's Clark at the beginning, where it's Clark, Lois, and Jimmy all sitting together. But Clark and Jimmy, I don't think say a word to each other. Like Jimmy, for the most part, was helping out Lois, which is fine. But I wish he had at least one scene with Clark. Clark's parents, his adoptive parents, Jonathan and Martha, they were great in this movie. They were the heart of this film. They were the heart of this film, because when Superman is upset about the message that his birth parents left him, he has a talk with his dad, and his dad is like, "But the fact that you wanted that message to be something good says a lot more about you than they do." And a lot of versions, Jonathan is dead, but luckily they kept him alive in this movie, and I'm glad they did because he was great. Some people were complaining that they were too Southern. I didn't really have a problem with that though. The only thing I noticed though was like, why wouldn't Clark be Southern if he was raised by two people with Southern accents? Wouldn't he be a little bit Southern? I don't know. Maybe he like forced himself not to have an accent because he thought Superman having an accent would look weird. I don't know. Whatever. That's not something I really had a problem with. It's just something I noticed. But yeah. Oh, I really like the scene where the child in the Middle East hangs up the Superman flag and everyone is cheering for Superman. But then they kind of ruin it because Superman doesn't show up doesn't show up at the Middle East because he's fighting. He's saving the city because Lex Luthor opens a pocket dimension or a pocket universe in Metropolis, and that causes the city to fall apart. So him and Mr. Terrific are handling that while Green Lantern and Hawkgirl are saving the children in the Middle East. But yeah, it was still a good scene. Still good. The scene where they're chanting was great. There's a scene where Lois and Lex and Mr. Terrific go to the Middle East to save Superman, where Lex, because that's the entrance to the Pocket Universe, where Lex is holding him after he captured him. And there's this really cool scene, one of the best scenes in the movie, where Mr. Terrific, he puts a bubble around Lois, and then, like, fights off all the henchmen, like, all the bad guys. And that was a really cool scene, but the only thing I think would have made it better is if Lois was there too, because she was just watching the fight. And usually, like, Lois Lane has never really been someone who's just watched. At least maybe in like the early 1940s Superman, she was a damsel in distress a few times, but the more recent versions, she's really cool. She fights like even if it just means picking up a blunt object and just swinging it at bad guys. Like I kind of wish they did that. Like I know Lois doesn't have any superpowers, so I'm not saying she has to be like as effective in a fight, but I think it would have been. I would have liked to see her at least try to fight back instead of her just standing there watching with a shocked look on her face. I don't know. But like I said, I like Lois in this movie. And then the scene at the end where Clark and Lois kiss and in the mall, that was cool. That was cool. That was a nice scene. Um, and then okay, so at the end of the movie, we see Superman at the Fortress of Solitude, and then we hear a crash, and Kal-X. Well, they don't call him Kal-X in the movie. He doesn't have a name yet, but it's implied that it's Kal-X. He says, "Oh, your cousin's back," and then Supergirl comes in, played by Millie Alnock. Is that how you say her name? The lady from House of Dragons. She comes in, and I didn't expect Supergirl to be in this movie, so that was cool. But then we find out that the reason she wasn't in this movie up until now was because she was on another planet partying. Because the reason, and she parties on other planets because you Kryptonians can't get drunk, so she goes to other planets with red suns where she doesn't have powers, so she can get drunk. So that's why she wasn't there this whole movie. This whole movie, when Superman was being kidnapped and tortured, or when Krypto was captured, and Krypto was her dog, by the way, in this movie, or when the city was falling apart, she's just out partying. I mean, yes, she didn't know what was happening, but still, it's just weird to think that she wouldn't be there because of that. I don't know. It was weird, but yeah, I thought. But yeah, so that was a few things I didn't really like about the movie, but overall, it was a great movie. I would give it like an 8 out of 10. Yeah, really great movie. Something else I forgot to mention about Lex Luthor. He cries. He cries in this movie after Superman defeats him. He just standing there. He looks around. He realizes he's been defeated, and then he just fucking cries. Like, okay. The only other time I remember seeing Lex Luthor cry was in Smallville when Michael Rosenbaum cried, but that was different because Michael Rosenbaum's version, that version of Lex was crying because he realized what he was becoming. He realized his friendship with Clark was over. So that makes it more like chilling, I guess would be the right word, because Lex Luthor is slowly descending into evil and he realizes it, and he realizes that he's losing his humanity. But in this version, he's just crying because he lost. Like, yeah. But overall, great movie. You should, if you haven't seen this movie, you definitely should. It really feels like a tribute to the comics. Yeah, so that's it. Did you see this movie? What did you think? Let's talk about it in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye.